Alright, what is up everybody? This is Rance, aka Darth Lugia, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 things that the Invincible versus team can do to make motion inputs better. Let's talk about it. Okay, so how I'm going to go about doing this is first talking about why motion inputs are the way they are. I'm going to talk about some of the strengths of motion inputs and some of the limitations of standard inputs as well, because there are a few. And then ultimately discuss why motion inputs feel not great in this game. Which is fine. It's early on. There's time to change it. However, I'm going to recommend a few things, 3 things that the team can do to actually make motion inputs just feel better, be more viable as a competitive player in this game. Because right now, most of the pros are playing standard, and you can't really blame them. But before we get into that, let me actually talk just some basic knowledge for those of you who don't know how this works. So in this game, you have motion inputs, and you have standard inputs. Okay, standard is how the game teaches you the tutorial. Standard is what the vast majority of people are playing in this game. Now, real quick, I think that standard inputs actually has some limitations. So if you are playing on a controller, like I am, right? I got a Victrix. You have your light, medium, and heavy buttons, as you can see there, right? Light, medium, and heavy. And then you have your special button. Okay, so far that is 4 buttons. For me, that is all 4 of my face buttons. You can see I'm lighting up each of them, right? Those are my face buttons. Then you need both of your assist buttons, right? You absolutely need an assist 1 and an assist 2. There's no macros you can do to bring out assist. So already you're up to 6 buttons, okay? You're already up to 6 buttons on standard. Then after that, you also are required to have a boost button. There is no way, as far as I'm aware, right? There is no way to essentially like do a boosted special without just legitimately having a boost button. Okay, so based on that, we are looking at on standard controls. You're looking at light, medium, heavy, special, assist 1, assist 2, and boost. You have 7 necessary buttons before you even get into the idea of macros. Then if you look at my controller specifically, right, I have L2 for dash. So that puts me at 8 buttons. And then finally, after the dash, which I think you should always have a dash macro in any game that lets you have one, then we start getting into what other options I have. So for me, I have my R3 as super, right? And I have my L3 as heroic strike. For me personally, you can do other things, but these are just the 2 that I find the most helpful. But you also have like throw, right, which is light and special, which for me is simple to do. Heroic strike is fine too, but I don't want to do that. So right off the bat, I want to acknowledge that standard itself is a little bit clunky, right? Because like I can get a macro, I can get a button for every one of these. And then for me to get something like a super, which I cannot do heavy and special easily on my pad, I have to have like a paddle macro on the back, right? And R3. Heroic strike, same deal, right? And I don't even get to have a throw macro. And so just acknowledging that there are reasons why you might not want to play standard before we talk about motion inputs, okay? So for me, this is a lot of buttons. This is an insane amount of buttons, especially for someone who started learning the game in motion controls. And that's partially why I've stayed away from it. It's just too many buttons. Another big one is this, is you don't get a 1-button boost dash, right? You have to hold the boost and then press the dash button, right, to then actually get a boost dash, which is okay, but it means that for me, like my combo structure, instead of medium heavy and then just 1 button for the boost dash, I do have to press 2 buttons, right? I have to press 2 buttons. And then that also means every single special move, right, I have to again press 2 buttons, which isn't a huge deal, but then again, right? When it comes to supers, you know, you have to do forward and your macro, back in your macro, or holding down the boost and doing the macro. Okay, so my point is first that standard controls also are a little bit clunky and a little bit limited. Now, let's talk about motion controls and why you might want to use them, and ultimately what the team can do to help them. So let's go to motion. You can see here, I have light, medium, and heavy. Now I have assist 1, I have assist 2, and I have dash, okay? Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Only actually 5 absolutely necessary buttons, right? And light, medium, heavy, assist 1, assist 2, right? That moves you from 7 necessary down to 5 necessary. And now you can start doing your macros. So for example, dash, L2, perfect. I think that you should always have a dash macro. I have a single button boosted dash macro, which is wonderful, right? If I just press R2, I get a boosted dash out of any of my special moves or normal moves I want to boost dash out of. And then I don't even have a macro for L3. I just have a single macro for throw, right? I have a macro for throw. And then I put my heroic strike actually on the X button, because if it's on the X button, then it's one of the easiest buttons for me to press on reaction to someone coming in, right? I just press heroic strike, boom, as fast as I want to. So you can see why motion controls in this way can be a little bit appealing. You have less necessary buttons, which opens you up to do more macros, right? I have to remember less buttons. Now, here we get into the issues with motion controls. They acknowledged that they tacked on motion controls pretty late in the process, and so they are not fully fleshed out. The only, besides what I just mentioned with having less buttons to think about, right, having to care about less buttons, the only thing you get is extra damage. Now that extra damage is so minimal that it actually doesn't really contribute much at all. So if I do a special move in motion controls, right, 52 damage, right, every time I hit, I get 52. If I go over to standard, I do that same special move, it's 50. It's 50. Now, where this starts to come into play, to be fair, is once you get into combos, which is true. However, let me show you a combo that uses 4 special moves and a super move. Okay, 4 special moves and a super move. And I'll show you the damage that this gives me in motion compared to standard. So it's gonna be very simple, but it is good damage as my B&B. So it's with Titan, right? I'll go crouching medium, stand medium heavy, into special, into dash, medium heavy special, dash, medium heavy special, dash, medium heavy special, into super. So it should be 4 rocks, 1 super. So I'll show you this. 1, 2, 3, bam, 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 bam. That's enough of that. So pull that off, right? That's 554 damage. Okay. Good damage. I like it. 554 damage. That's great. Lassie, welcome, bro. How you doing? But that required me to do 1 rock, 2 rock, 3, 4 critical go back motion inputs, right? And 1 critical forward motion input, and I get 554 damage. Now, if we do the exact same combo, this might take me a try or 2, but I'll get it. Exact same combo, starting with the crouching medium starter. Okay, exact same combo, verbatim. 527 damage. Characters have 1,000 health, roughly, in this game. I'm pretty sure it's 1,000 health. So 5 opportunities for me to get the bonus damage through the special move and the supers, and after a full combo, spending all of my resources and a super bar in motion controls, I get under 30 extra damage. Under 30 extra damage. That is not enough. That is not enough. So my very first recommendation for the team to make motion controls worth it as opposed to standard is 1, we absolutely need to give more incentive for people to use motion controls. The damage that you get is not worth it. This is such a high damage game to where 30 damage makes no difference, right? Realistically, it makes 0 difference in this game at all. So that's number 1. We need to have a bigger damage disparity between motion and standard if we're going to continue having it set up the way we do, because it's negligible. It is literally, you can ignore it and it doesn't actually matter. Now, the second thing that is a limitation of motion controls that needs to be fixed is the buffer window, and this is pretty significant. So for Titan, for my character, one of his most powerful tools is the fact that he has a armored overhead launcher, right? In standard controls, this is simply down and special button, so it's great. However, in motion controls, it is a DP input, right? So forward, down, down, forward input. Okay, forward, down, forward input, which is not hard in combos, right? You can kind of dial them in combos, pretty... Oh, I missed it there, though. Hold up. All right, you can dial it in combos, you can get it fairly consistently. At least I can. When it comes to neutral, this becomes a problem because not only is it taking you 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs as opposed to like technically 1 to 2 inputs in standard controls, but they don't give you a good window to buffer it. So if I'm doing like a dash, for example, right? I'm doing a dash and you can see it during that dash, I did forward, down, forward, forward, right? So I missed the down. That time I got it, right? That time I was able to get it. Okay. Missed it that time, right? Missed it that time, once again. Right? I have to be super intentional. If you miss the down, then like it says I missed the down there. I don't think I did, but it says I did. Then you will not have the input come out. And instead of doing like a dash forward into your armored overhead, right, you get something like just a dash forward into a light jab, which is not great. Okay, so that's one issue that needs to be fixed, is that the buffering is just not great, which is a big deal because this also applies to supers. So I want to learn Elemental. One of her best traits is that she's got a full screen gotcha level 3. Okay, full screen gotcha level 3. Now, if I have Power Flex set to do his level 1 on his wake up, okay? And if I am on it, I could level 3 through level 1, right? Just like that. I actually pulled it off in my first try. That was a surprise. It kind of goes against my point, so my bad. But let me show you how your inputs have to be on, right, for this to work, okay? Okay, so if I see the screen flash, I inputted it during the screen flash, it does not come out. Okay, watch. I have to do it right at the end of the screen flash instead, right? Exactly at the end of the screen flash. Right, I'm like, oh, he's got it, okay. Nope, I did it way too early, right? I did it too early. There is very, very minimal buffer window, right? So even though I'm reacting as early as I can, I actually have to slow down my reactions and wait. I didn't even get it that time, right? I have to slow down my reactions and wait until the animation is right about to end. And this is a huge weakness, because if we do the exact same thing in our other inputs, right? The exact same thing. I freaking forget what they are. I'm holding the boost gauge, and I just gotta mash, while I'm holding the boost gauge, mash the super button, which for me is macro, right? And let's see how much damage this does actually on its own full screen. Because 500 damage. So 500 compared to, I think it was just 554, right? Let's go ahead and check. So let's see if I can get it this time. Oh, didn't get it that time. So I'm gonna wait till right now. There it is. Okay, so same thing, taking, but I can't mash it at all, right? You cannot mash it, because it'll give you a cross circle forward attack, as opposed to a BP attack. Right, so 524, so again, it's 30 damage less, which is literally nothing. I'll cross circle back like that, but I have to jump, go forward. Nope, I missed it again. I have to jump, and I'm actually getting it best if I let go of the stick and then start inputting, right? And I can't even get it out of the hop, geez. So, and here's the thing, I know that, yes, I'm missing the input, so it's partially on me, right? Technically, yes. But I've played a lot of fighting games with a lot of DP inputs, and this one is just tight. It's just very, very, very tight. Just limitations, right? The buffer window is odd. It doesn't feel natural to put in some of these inputs compared to a lot of other games I've done. So that's a big weakness. So that's number 2. is they need to give a little more leniency, right? If I hit forward, down, forward, forward, for example, I feel like that should give me a DP motion. I honestly should. I think that's totally fine in a game like this. I also think the level 3s, maybe, should not be DP into heavy. I think instead, what actually would be kind of cool, it was like cross circle forward and 2 attacks.
Yeah, that's
right?
enough of that.
And cross circle forward and 2 attacks could be better. Because right now, heavy is how you get the level 1, but if I change it to like medium and heavy, or like an assist and a heavy, or even a freaking like a boost, right? I can do that too, and I'd be okay with that. So that's another change. Make the inputs more lenient. Just make it easier for people to get these to come out. Because right now it feels bad. And the third and final thing is actually something that I admit might be a little bit difficult, but I think is ultimately what should be done. I think that separating motion and standard inputs into 2 different categories is actually a little bit of the major problem. What most other games that have utilized easy inputs have done well is they've allowed you to pick a character and to do either motion or standard all within a single setting. How would this look like in this game? I think how this would look like is if I want to do a special attack, right? I can do the cross circle back motions. And cross circle back into light, cross circle forward into light, right? Or cross circle mediums, whatever. However, I can still have a macro for the special move button, right? Which in this case, if we go to standard, I can still have my light, medium, and heavy, and I can have cross circle forward lights for like a regular special, cross circle forward medium for a boosted special, and then the supers, I could still do these inputs, and I could get extra damage if I do that, just like in like Granblue, right? Granblue Fantasy Versus does this pretty well. Modern controls for Street Fighter, they change a lot of things, but you can still get high damage if you do the inputs. And then if I need to, I have the special button, right? I could just use this A as the special button, and this would allow me to do like a down special, like a DP motion very easily if I needed to. And this could also apply to supers. I could still have easy inputs for supers, or if I had the time, I could do the motion inputs for supers. This means that you keep the convenience and you keep the incentive to do motion inputs. I think this would be ideal. And this allows you to, once again, I would take away, obviously you'd still have the issue with like the boost button. I would not want the boost button to still be a thing, but I guess we'll kind of have to. I just want it to also count as a boost dash automatically, but maybe I could just get used to that. That's fine. That's my third and final option that I think would help, is combine motion and standard into one input set, and just bring the best of both worlds, right? Bring the ability to get some extra damage by doing the motions, and then bring the convenience of 1-button supers, 1-button special DPs, and the other buttons can kind of work themselves out. So all in all, those are my 3 recommendations. So what that was first, higher damage difference between motion and standard. Second, easier motion inputs. They are far too strict in a game that's this loose and this wild, right? Let us be a little bit loose with our inputs as well. And then third, combine motion and standard into one input, so that way people can get the best of both worlds without having to sacrifice the damage potential or sacrifice the fun of doing motion inputs for the very meta and like competitively better viable way of doing standard. For someone like me who's already learned the game through motion and now having to try and relearn it through standard, it just makes it difficult to do this process. So those are my 3 tips. Quarter up, you guys are doing great. It's early on, and they added this on very late, the motion inputs, and so I think that there's plenty of room, plenty of time for them to change something like this, and hopefully they do. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.